Oh, finally some weather I can enjoy. I had a light sprinkling of snow over the last 48 hours. And it's around about freezing temperature. But it ain't raining. So just out with the pooch, who's been rolling in snow. And I'm having to think about what job I'm going to do next on Clanger. I've got the stuff to rebuild the windscreen, but then I've got to store it somewhere where it won't get bust. I can't put the engine in yet because I ain't working outside in this. It's just a recipe for another cold. And I got the dashboard wants rebuilding. I had a metal work on that. The heater wants rebuilding because there ain't much metal work left on that. Seat box wants rebuilding because there's a lot of big holes in it, and there's no base to it at all. So the most of fabrication jobs, the problem is they all need quite a bit of space to work in, and as I get stuff built up, I'm running out of space. So my priority has been shuffling stuff around and getting some temporary heat source into the workshop. And yeah, I'll show you more in a bit. One of the things I love about walking when it's fresh snow is watching the animal footprints. And basically trying to decipher what they are and where they've come from. Now there are quite a few dog walkers, and I know there's a couple have been up earlier, but I can't see any sort of male or human footprints along here, so I'm wondering whether these are a fox print. Look a little bit small, some of them, but there's two sets running down. Anyway, we've seen hare prints, rabbit prints, pheasant prints, badger's prints, and I'm pretty sure fox prints. I haven't seen any deer prints, but then I haven't seen deer over here for a couple of years, mainly because they culled several dozen. Well, she's just had a dose of zoomies because she's met one of the walking pals, which is a young Springer Spaniel. That's at the tracks we can see here now. Now, I'll take this sort of morning over rain any day. Look over the top there in the distance, you can see where the heavy cloud is. That's over Kinder Scout, South Head and round. So basically all the higher hills in the Pennines. We've just missed the edge of it. I think these are a badger set tracks. Straight down there. And it comes from over here. It looks like he's had a route for some worms or something. I can't believe it's come over the top of there and there's no thing, so we'll follow it along here. Yeah, it's been worming, hasn't it? These are the tracks along here still. Oh, stupid ass dogs found the other end of it. Oh, welcome into the wooden shed of delights. Not sure if you can hear that, but that's my little Chinese diesel heater. They're all over YouTube and I'm quite impressed. With the benefit of hindsight, I should have bought a self-contained one because we've spent 4 days cocking about putting it all together and fabricating a stand. It's the 5 to 8 kilowatt and it's currently on its lowest setting. And that air coming out of there is, I don't know, 45, 50 degrees. And it's quite pleasant in there. It goes up to 6 settings above that. But it's like a bloody tornado. So it's more than adequate. Reason for getting it, When I built the shed, the roof panels have got it's called an anti-condensation coating, and it's basically like a non-woven fabric laminated on. And during the 6 weeks that I never came in here because I was sick as a parrot, the water running off the roof was wicking back under here. So the inside of this, it's still a little bit damp there. It's better now. The roof was basically wet up to, I think it was this panel there, all the way across, and dripping all over my bloody engine. So all my clutch pressure plate and flywheel got a load of surface rust on it. That bit of surface rust is sort of well cheesed off. And I don't know whether you can tell, but that door was absolutely saturated, and the lower half of that one, and all from basically, well, the majority of it from this area where the overlap is, it was wicking under, and as I say, from the edges. So what I ended up doing, and you might just be able to see it, I've trimmed the covering off for about 2 inches back, and that seems to have solved the problem. It's just a sod's law. If I'd have been in here, I'd have noticed it sooner and been able to put a stop to it. So yeah, a bit of a setback, bit annoying, but to be brutally honest, when it happened, I wouldn't have given 2 hoots because I was knackered and not well. Anyway, so engine's in here still. I haven't got around to loading it into the chassis for the simple reason I can't do it on my own. I need a hand, and it ain't the right real weather for it. At the back we've got the bonnet framework. That's got undercoat primer on. I am waiting for the weather to warm up a bit so I can get the underside of the bonnet coated with the paint. Then I can fit the frame to the underside of the bonnet and put the rivets through and rivet it all up before I actually start painting the outside of the bonnet. So it's kind of chicken and egg. What else have we got? There is track rod ends, they're all there. They're ready to go on. There's the servo brake pedal box has been rebuilt. That's down there in the black hole. And the clutch pedal box is over there, that's been rebuilt, and I've got a new master cylinder for that, as I have for the brakes. So we're getting there. It's a case of doing stuff, but I am running out of space. So I've pulled the windscreen, and this is the frame that's come back from the galvanisers. Seems pretty good. There's the odd little knobbly bit, but it's, I mean, barely feel it. Yeah, well, it looks about damn sight better than it did, and it should last pretty well. So I'm just cleaning up the window trim. As you can see where I've clipped the edge lightly with the grinder when I was having to take off some of the studs which were corroded in. These little tiny grubs, self-tappers. So I bought a new pack of self-tappers. Can't remember whether I think they are BZP. So the plan is get this prepped up and then get the frame, get the glass in. Glass is down there, that all wants cleaning yet, so I'm a while off fitting it, but I was getting the framework ready. And then once that's got the screens in, I've got to go and find a home where it's safe and it won't get cracked. Yeah. Other than that, that's about it really. Main and exhaust is hung. That's the connection up to the manifold round the back of the turbo. The manifold's there, turbo's in storage. I've got a new factory recon, so I sent mine away and it's been stripped, new cartridge and everything's set up. I've just got to put on the oil return pipe. So yeah, you can see it's kind of like I'm trying to get stuff together now. It's bloody cold out, but it's nice and it's quite pleasant in here now. It's probably about 14-15 degrees. It won't stay in here very long because of all the ventilation around the top of the roof and through the doorways, but it's drying everywhere off, and that's what I'm more bothered about. Right, enough of me yabbering on. I better get on with something. I'll bring you back in a bit. Well, I've gone through and re-drilled all the holes for the screws, and it's a 3/32 bit, which means a number 4 screw self-tapper will go in and seal. I've checked it and it does, so that's always reassuring. There's quite a bit of leeway. I mean, those holes have got about a 30-second clearance all round, so there's a bit of wiggle room. Anyway, next job's lift the glass up and get that cleaned off, and then it'll be ready. Time to set up for gumming them up. Meanwhile, dog needs walking again. Oh, welcome back again. This is Thursday morning. Had another couple of inches of snow early hours. In fact, those clouds up there and off there, they're still dropping it, and the air temperature's absolutely frigid. Real cold. Skippy's happy enough though, nibbling on a bit of snow. It is lovely when it snowed. Lifts the mood. Well, it makes for an uneven ground looking better than it is. Sun's just breaking over the horizon. That's the reflected cloud it's picking up on. There's been a fox along here anyway. You see? They're a hare. There's 2 or 3 live up on this bit of rough ground. Well, there's nobody being up in front of us. We've followed footsteps most of the way round, and it's they must have been out with a head torch. Skippy's decided that snow's great until it gets packed into your paws, and then it's not so much fun. So we're doing a lot of nibbling to clear the snow out. Always goes quiet, doesn't it? As snow absorbs a bit more noise than normal. Anyway, I'm going to have to put my coat back on in a minute, because I don't know whether you can see, but this clouds are dropping down. It's like a freezing air mass. Hobbly jubbly. Can't even see Eccles Pike. So visibility is about a mile. Here's a set of tracks I don't recognise. There's 2 feet in each point, and that's quite a jump. That's 18 inches jump. I'm wondering whether it's something like a weasel. There's no sign of the tail. Yeah, I would guess a weasel that's gone under there somewhere. Not a black and white collie anyway. There they are again. You see them working their way along. Yeah, my guess is a weasel or a stoat. Might be a stoat looking at the size of the hole. Sun's out. Hey. Homeward bound, which is downhill. Where'd you go? Hey? It's lovely in the sun, but gosh, it's cold out of it.
slightly apprehensive about fitting these screens because there's a chap on Instagram, I think his name's Dobbo Down Under, and his business is restoring series Land Rovers. I think he's got 2 or 3 of them himself. He does a fabulous job. I mean, concourse when he's done. And he broke 2 or 3 screens putting them in until he got it sorted. So, but he recommended using Sikaflex sealer, and there is one for windscreens, but it's, when I've looked at the detail of it, it's very much an adhesive. So like for gluing in modern screens. And when I've talked to guys on forums, most of them are recommending basically using a gutter seal, in that it doesn't go off, it always stays flexible, tacky, and obviously being a gutter seal, it's UV proof and all the rest of it. It's also cheap as chips, so you can use plenty of it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But yeah, if you go on Instagram, check him out. He's got some good posts, quite useful stuff. This is just the initial clean to get the gritty bits off. I'll bring you back when I've done that side.
I put the screens in and forgot to press record. So there's 40 minutes of me nattering and nothing being recorded. I've cleaned up the inside face. I've got one screw that I can't get to go in, so I've got to re-drill a hole. So I'm just waiting for my battery drill to recharge. Then I've got to go flip it over and take off the excess sealer. Yeah. I'm holding back judgment as to whether this stuff's going to actually do the job. It seems very soft. I've put more than enough on, as in plenty on, because the idea was there's something like quarter of an inch all the way around the glass, and if it goes to the extreme at the bottom, there's a gap at the top. So I've packed it in behind, slid it down. We shall see. I mean, they're not renowned for being waterproof, but we'll see how it goes. At least we're having new screws in, it's no big deal. Take them out and redo them at a later stage if I need to. Yeah, I was going to do heated windscreens. 400 quid for the glass plus the electrics. So I thought, get a lot of towels for that, can't you? And a squeegee. So backed out of that, do you? If I'd have bust the glass, maybe, but it just seemed an awful lot of money to spend on the luxury that they weren't supplied with. But we'll see how that sets up. The open time on that Mastix, I think measured in days. I'm not sure whether it goes off with it's accelerated with heat or what. I've got a bit of cleaning up to do, but to be honest, it comes off if you give it a bit of a rub. And I've checked round and it looks like it's nice and filled up everywhere, so fingers crossed we're on for a good one. Yeah. Just got to find somewhere to store it now till I can get it mounted on the bulkhead, which still needs painting.